Every day, we rise, challenging ourselves to work for what we believe in. At U.S. Border Patrol, protecting our borders is more than a job. It's a calling. Agents answer the call, working together to keep our country and communities safe. If you're ready for a new mission, join U.S. Border Patrol and go beyond. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers.
It's the Larry Kudlow Show. Free market prosperity starts here. Now, here's Larry Kudlow.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Larry Kudlow. This is the Larry Kudlow Show, Hour 3. By the way, you can live stream us on the internet. LarryKudlowShow.com, LarryKudlowShow.com. Plays all across the country, throughout the world, and the solar system. And even the Milky Way covers it. And during the week, Fox Business Network, FBN, name the show's Kudlow, 4 to 5 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. We will be in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. Very exciting. This will be the 5th Republican convention that I've covered as a broadcaster. So it's great stuff. We're going to turn to the stock market, which can do no wrong. The Dow hit 40,000. NASDAQ had a nice move. S&P 500, I think that's also at a record high or close to it. Maybe the big news is the small cap stocks. Russell 2000 up 6%. The S&P 600 small caps up 4.3%. Actually, the mid caps, the 400, up 4.3%. So it's rock and it's roll. And then the question is, if all that's so good, why should the Fed cut interest rates? Anyway, we got two aces, Jeff Kilburg, CEO of KKM Financial, and Kenny Polcari, Case Capital Advisors and Slate Stone Wealth. Gentlemen, welcome. You know, Ken Polcari, if we're so desperately in need of lower interest rates, at least from the Fed's policy rate, why are stocks booming? I mean, I don't really see any monetary restraint with the Dow 40,000. By the way, I welcome the Dow 40,000. The Kudlow Trust welcomes the S&P 5615. I'm all for it. I own a small cap index too, so I'm a happy camper. But I'm just saying, typically, if money is too tight, you don't see this kind of exuberance in the stock market. That's all I'm suggesting. What do you make of it?
Agreed. I'm on the same page as you. I don't see the need at all. Rates are not usurious in my case, and here we are kissing. I mean, it's almost every day we kiss another new high with 5.25% rates, with the economy quote unquote as robust as it is. So I don't see the need. You know that. I've been saying that for a long time. I think that they're going to be premature, and I hate to say it, it's going to revisit, the 1979, 1981 time frame when they prematurely cut rates because they thought they had killed inflation. And I think yesterday's PPI report speaks right to that. It was much hotter than expected. They completely ignored that because CPI was supposedly weaker. But people have to remember, it's the PPI prices that get then filtered down into CPI. So higher PPI prices ultimately should mean we're going to see higher CPI prices next month or the month after that. So I'm still in the camp like you that there's no reason to cut. Money does not seem to be an issue. The market is kissing all-time highs and continues to do so. And so I don't see it. I certainly don't see multiple. The market's now pricing in 3 cuts, September, November, and December, which to me makes absolutely zero sense.
Well, look at the Fed's target is 2% inflation.
Correct.
Not 3, not 3.5.
Right.
But 2. So we're not there. We're
That's
not
right.
at 2. It's highly speculative, Kilburg. Now,
It sure is.
I'm
Larry.
all for the bull market. Okay, I think it's getting a little pricey, but I'm not a short-term player. I'm just saying. I mean, look, maybe I'm all dead wrong. It's just that.
No, I think you bring up great points. And honestly, it seems like this moment in time, the market does have vulnerability. What have we seen? Since last November, the S&P 500 has had a melt up. Specifically, in the last 6 weeks, we've seen a melt up. And now, for the first time, the Fed is talking about, we're going in the right direction. I don't want to call Fed Chairman Powell by his real name anymore. I want to call him David Copperfield. He's an illusionist. And what he has done, and the Fed has done, this is decade long, you know this, Larry, but they've done such a great job of training us investors and conditioning us to look month over month, year over year. And they are getting slight progress, but it's been an absolute nightmare for anyone in the middle class. Here in Chicago, you go to the grocery store or you go to the gasoline pump, it's just painful. And what we're seeing is that inflation, despite the fact that it's coming down, where we are from 2019 to where we are now, everything's 25% higher. So I think it's kind of laughable that they're utilizing 1/10 of a better CPI number to justify cutting rates. It seems more political than anything to me. But what is interesting when you bring it back to the market, last Thursday, 2 days ago, was really fascinating when you saw such massive dispersion. Maybe this narrow leadership in the Mag 7 is being trimmed. And we did see small caps, to your point, pop. But small caps have been laggards, not year to date, not 1 year, not 3 years, but 5 years. Is this the moment in time that small caps catch a bid? I look at IWM, and I think it may be time for at least a mean reversion play, Larry.
Well, it's interesting. Let's talk for a moment about the so-called broadening out. I'm looking at the stocks for the week. Let's see, utilities up 3.9%, materials, commodities 3%, healthcare 2.6%, industrials 2.4%, financials 2%. Tech was only 0.5%. So, Kenny, is there a broadening out? Is that a useful theme, or is that just a one-timer?
No. I don't think it's a one-timer at all, and I think there is a broadening out, and there should be a broadening out. Look, the vulnerability in the tech sector, and specifically the Mag 7, shouldn't surprise anybody. Look, they're up 24% this year. It's up 47% last year. And I get this. I get the theme. I get AI. I think it's all right. But I also think it's certainly a little bit pricey that it's gotten ahead of itself. And so I fully expect that, as we move through this earnings season into the second half of the year, that there is going to be a rotation, some money coming out of tech and moving into whether it's small caps, whether it's, some of the other sectors that have been underperforming or that have been laggards so far. And I fully welcome it. I think it's actually healthy for the market.
Why, Jeff Kilburg, why is gold at 24.11? That's a big number.
It is, and I think you've seen central bank demand. I think there's still inflation concerns. And the bigger question is, Larry, if the Fed starts cutting rates, will that reignite inflation domestically? Mm-hmm. And there's so many issues to grapple with there on who's actually working, who's actually keeping inflation down in our country. But there's grave concern, I think, by central bankers, and that's why gold is bid. And little brother silver, hi-ho tanto, is finally catching a bid as well.
Right. But can I just jump in there for a second? Look at what's happened to the dollar index. Remember, a weaker dollar is going to support commodities, specifically gold. And
True.
The dollar is down nearly 2% in the last, look at the chart, probably the last 6 or 7 weeks when they started that whole narrative about multiple rate cuts again. So the dollar will get weaker, and gold found a bid and went from 23.30 up to 24, almost 24.30 in just a matter of really a little bit of time.
Yeah, but Kenny, gold's been bid for quite some time, and I think that's been a lot of institutions globally. So we're at new all-time highs. So it is fascinating to see copper hanging in there, but gold is kind of in uncharted waters, in my opinion. And I don't know if that's the canary in the coal mine, but you are really seeing people wanting to own gold for whatever reason or whatever's on the horizon.
Silver is up 29% year to date.
Yeah.
Okay. Is anybody? I've got a name for you. Bunker Hunt. Anybody remember Bunker Hunt?
Yeah, I was just a kid.
I was working.
Read in my history books.
Yeah.
I was at Bear Stearns in those days.
Yeah.
Bunker Hunt, silver. What did it get to $50? And then it crashed.
Right.
And Paul Volcker decided he was going to slay inflation, and Ronald Reagan said, "Go ahead and do it," and he did it.
Right.
So all that stuff went down. Gold crashed, silver crashed, oil crashed. It was very cool. Inflation crashed.
Right, because they jammed rates to 20%.
And tax cuts rejuvenated the economy, man. That's what we need now. See, I don't think, this guy, Powell, let's go back to that for a second. If he cut rates this summer, or in the fall, September, he's going to have a political problem on his hands. And it's not just going to be Trump. I mean, Trump will blast him for juicing the economy to reelect Biden.
Right.
But it won't be just Trump. You'll get all these Republican senators will start hammering away at him, and House members. Trust me on this. I know this game very well.
Well, and to take it a step further, Larry, I think investors globally, it's going to be buy the rumor, sell the fact. And if they do cut rates by 25 basis points, what does that actually do? So you could actually see a bit of a pullback in the S&P 500 of, say, 10 to 15% because of the fact that we've been waiting for this and talking about this for so long.
Yeah, well, the futures market's been wrong for 2 years.
Right. But it's also
every time they do this, it turns out not to be true.
On how he positions this rate cut. First of all, Larry, to your point, cutting rates in September 5 weeks before the election presents, in my opinion, a problem. That's number one. But number two, how's he going to position it? Is he cutting rates because, we slayed inflation and the economy's strong and we can make it? Or is he cutting inflation because now he's really worried that the economy's going off the edge? Because that's a very different story.
Well,
right?
What's it? All right, so give me a rundown on the economy.
So I still think I don't think the economy is slowing down as much as I'd like you to think it's slowing down. I actually think, it had been supercharged there for a while, right? We were fighting inflation. Now it's coming back down. We're settling into, I think, what is going to be kind of a trend that's going to hold us steady. I don't think we're going down the drain, nor do I think it's overheating anymore. They have work to do on inflation, which is why I think they should keep rates exactly where they are. But I think, I'm bullish long term on the economy and on the markets for sure. And I don't think there's any reason to panic.
Just to jump on real quick, Larry, I think it's bifurcated. To Kenny, look, you're one of the most handsome and smartest guys I know. But at the end of the day, look at the economy. Reach last week. Reach jumped up 4.5%. So it's been so bifurcated.
He's flirting with you.
Kenny
Polcari.
Sector to sector.
Kenny Polcari. Kilburg is flirting with you. This is a new. This is a whole new element to our show. Stock market.
He's a good-looking Italian dude. We're here in Chicago. It's all good.
He's batting his eyes at you. You know what I mean? I didn't want to let that one go by. It's terrific stuff. Well, the economy. So you had 1.4% real GDP in Q1. We don't know yet Q2. The Atlanta Fed says it's going to be about 2%. It's not fabulous. The unemployment rate's gone up from 3.4% last fall. It's now 4%. It's not a catastrophe, but I would say the economy is in a slowdown mode.
Right.
Agreed.
But I don't think we're
going
off
the edge. But it's not crashing.
You?
No.
Right.
There's no recession in sight.
Right.
No, my only point, though, is, Larry, that sector to sector, you're seeing dislocation where, you've seen industrials and healthcare and even real estate kind of been on the mat. And all of a sudden, maybe if we see this rotation, some of those sectors come back to life where obviously the leadership has been in the Magnificent Seven. Anything AI related, we've seen tech up and away. So I think that rotation will actually be really healthy, but there will be some volatility. The VIX is not going to sit at 12, 13 for the rest of the year, in my opinion.
No, agreed.
Let me take a break. Hold on. Jeff Kilburg, KKM Financial, Ken Polcari, Case Capital Advisors, and Slate Stone Wealth, two very old friends. Can't bat your eyes on radio. You can't see it, actually. You have to sort of broadcast it. But I'm Kudlow. We'll be right back.
This is the Larry Kudlow Show. Now, back to the Larry Kudlow Show.
We're doing some stock market work. Two of the best, Jeff Kilburg, KKM Financials, and Kenny Polcari, Case Capital Advisors, and Slate Stone Wealth. Gentlemen, thank you. When we left off, Kilburg was batting his eyes at Polcari, but we're gonna get through that. Let me just ask you this. Let's get some investment strategy. How do you play this, Ken Polcari? What's your investment strategy? Let's say between now and the end of the year, you got an election coming up in November, obviously. Where to invest?
So here's what I think. I think, to Jeff's point, there's going to be some volatility. I don't think the VIX is going to stay where it is. So I'm being patient, would be a buyer on pullbacks, but away from tech. Look, tech is up, like I said. It's between tech and communications, the two best performing sectors, better than 20 or 22% each. But there's opportunity industrials. That whole sector's up just under 9% for the year. There's opportunity, I think, in consumer staples. I think there's right. That's up about 7.5% in the year. I think there is opportunity if you believe that rates are coming down. There is opportunity in real estate. That's been the underperformer all year. It's actually negative. It's almost flat on the year, but it was negative right up till now. But if they do cut rates, and if the home builders, start to get excited, then there'll be an opportunity in real estate. But I would really focus on industrials, consumer staples, not discretionary, because staples you need all year round, not just when you want them. They are needs. And healthcare is another sector I would look at.
Jeff, Kilburg, banks did very well. Year to date, their KBW Bank Index, now these are the big banks, plus 13%. Last week, 4% increase. All these guys, Goldman, this is all year to date. Goldman up 24, B of A up 24, Citigroup up 25, JPM up 20, Wells Fargo not quite so much, up 15. Kenny was mentioning real estate. What about the commercial real estate loan portfolio issue? Some people are very bearish about that. What do you think?
I think that's a concern, but I think it's a smaller piece of the puzzle. And I got to go back to Coach Lou Holtz in South Bend, Indiana, who told me the acronym WIN. And it stands for, Larry, as you know, what's important now. And what's important now is what we saw on Thursday. We saw a bit of a depth charge going to the marketplace where they had that dispersion, where the S&P 500 was down 1% and the small caps were up nearly 4%. So that makes me think right here, right now, for the rest of the year, I want to get equal weighted. And obviously, as I manage the Essential 40 fund, that equal weight, we still own some of those big names, the big boys in Meta and Microsoft and Google, NVIDIA, but we also own Masco, Home Depot, American Water Works, Ford Motor Company, boring blue chip names that should perform well if we do see follow through on this rotation.
Ford stopped printing all those EVs. They lost $4.5 million. So they're probably...
but it's back up about 14.
Well, that's why. I'm just saying they pulled back.
Got it.
By the way, do you know how much I love Lou Holtz? I know him personally very well.
Yeah, he's the best. I
love the man.
He's really getting involved right now in his podcast, which is fun to listen to.
Oh, he is just. You
should have him on the show.
Well, I have had him on the TV show, but you know what? We can get him on the show. He's just a wonderful human being. He's a very, very good friend.
Agreed.
But listen,
anyway,
to your point in your first question, didn't Jay Powell on Tuesday and Wednesday in front of Congress tell him that he was not worried about the commercial real estate market causing instability to the financial markets?
Well, if he said that, then I'd be really worried about it.
Yeah, he did say. Yeah, right? He did in fact say that. Yeah.
Remember contained?
Yeah,
I remember
transitory.
Transitory, contained in 2008. Oh my God,
yeah. Amazing.
Jay Powell. So you guys, all right, just 30 seconds. You're Ken Polcari. You're rather more a bull than a bear.
Yeah.
And
I'm
Jeff,
cautious, but I would be a buyer on a pullback. I'm not a seller.
Jeff,
at all.
Same way. I'm rather more bull than bear. All right,
I think we end a little lower, but there's volatility coming, Larry.
I like optimism, and Donald Trump's going to cut tax rates, and that's got to be good for the whole world. I'm Kudlow. Money and Politics up next with Liz Peek and Steve Moore. I'm Kudlow. Stick around, folks.
There was a time when summer surprised us, when galleries opened minds, adventures opened hearts, and we all remained open to whatever the day might offer. It was a time to enjoy. It was summer, this summer, at Biltmore. Plan your visit or overnight stay so you can enjoy the marvelous works of Chihuly and savor the season. Reserve now at Biltmore.com.